Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology update for January 30th through February 6th, 2023. Well, here we are. We've had a big shift of energy with Venus just having moved over into Pisces a couple of days ago. So, Venus moving from Aquarius, air sign, very activated, very, a lot of thinking, analyzing now in Pisces. And Venus kind of likes it in Pisces. Venus represents our feminine, but also our loves, our desires, what makes us feel good. In Pisces, there's this deep desire for a spiritual life. And with the combination of other astrological things going on, it's a really powerful energy coming up of frustration around where our life has not been the life we're living in the mundane everyday reality just doesn't actually resonate with who we really are, supernova souls. Now, we're coming to find through all the research and our awareness how important frequency and vibration is, everything, you know. And when your environment is resonant, um, then that can support you in going higher in your vibrational frequency. And this is something that supernova souls have not been able to find for the most part, you know? And then, but we kind of got gaslit and brainwashed and just kind of go along with the program. Now, with Jupiter and Aries moving forward and all planets direct, there's just this incredible energy. And that's why I think the flavor of the Venus and Pisces is bringing forward an energy of like, no more. I'm not going to spend another minute in energy putting my mind, my attention, my energy, giving over my power to things around me and the agendas, and outside people. We're taking back our power. Supernova souls are going through a very important process right now, which is also a complete and total mystery. But at the very beginning of the supernova story that started to come through in individual sessions back in 2015, it was like the story of a bigger self, part of ourselves, which is our higher self, but it's just a nuance here because our highest self can't really fully incarnate, or can it? It's like there's this part of ourselves that's so powerful and aware from all the experiences we've gone through over lifetimes. And it's been kept like frozen in time or turned to stone or in a Faraday cage of electromagnetic um, trap. This has been more and more as we've gotten more and more frequencies in our environment. There's been less and less of an invitation and an opening to connect with our higher consciousness. And what's happening right now is that the energy brewing inside of us, this awakening into this bigger self, coming and being like that giant waking up and being like, you guys are trying to hold me down with dental floss, like, um, and it's so powerful what I'm seeing. And the message I've gotten around this is that one supernova soul fully activated, it'd be game over for the whole lower matrix, right? Except for that there is a whole group of us. And there's so many advanced souls waking up to what's been stolen from us, our awareness, our memory. And maybe the whole point is so that we come into who we are so powerfully in this particular incarnation that we can no longer forget who we are, and we don't need to come and play in these lower games of earth anymore. We can take life to another level. So this is the energy we're feeling because this weekend was so intense. I hope you had a good weekend, but the energy was so intense with this Mercury, the third and final Mercury square Chiron. It was just like a squeezing energy of like blocking, because Mercury is our one of our main action planets. It's pretty much Mercury and Mars. Saturn's also an action planet, Jupiter on some level. But both of our action planets have been retrograde since September. And so, because it was Mercury retrograde, went right into Mars retrograde and then another Mercury retrograde. Now, this is all coming out the same time that all the planets are direct. And then it's like, well, why aren't we going anywhere then? And it's so this weekend was just this like coming up against this resistance, you know, this energy of Mercury and Capricorn out structures of our world that interfere with our ability to be sovereign in control of our own mind and emotions and thoughts. Now we're getting the message that this is the only way we can evolve. We can't keep our lower loyalties and expect to move into a higher evolutionary position. No, you're playing with the devil, right? I mean, so basically, we're clearing everything within our own consciousness and our own psyche to be able to make this transition and to rise above the lower play. And this Chiron square, 3 times of this. Now, the other ones weren't so intense, but this third and final with both Mercury and Chiron direct, and it's like a completion of the retrograde cycle, and it's like the energy's coming in and being like, "Oh, you think you're gonna move, huh? Oh, no, you don't." It's like, "Oh." And, so it's like Chiron brings up traumas, is like our trying to heal the stories that we've played out in throughout this whole evolution. And this is why Chiron is so important in supernova souls in your birth chart. Your Chiron placement tells you the pattern that you've had throughout this whole evolution. It's not just this lifetime. This lifetime is about healing and completely resolving because Chiron is about those deepest wounds. Underneath the deepest wounds is like a magic power. And so when you heal those wounds, you get access to that magic power that you've already had access to, right? But it's like, so tells us where Chiron tells us where the most powerful healing ability we have is, and also the wounds around that ability and how we've been persecuted around it in past lives. So Chiron in Aries is about life force itself, survival. So Chiron in Aries is about fighting to survive. And so it's like where we gave over our life force and our energy to lower agendas, or where we agreed not to fully live in order to stay alive, where we've disconnected ourselves from that higher power, from that feeling, that knowing that we're part of something greater. And it's like we're at this kind of end game moment, the final hour, where we have to gather up the gumption and the power within us to claim back our autonomy as humans. So this is a fight for life, and it's up against the control energies, the structures of authority in Capricorn that have been controlling our mind through propaganda and programming MK Ultra on our whole society. And we're slowly waking up out of it. See, right now we're at the situation where the control energies are putting all of these resources into continuing to make sure that awakened souls don't awaken anymore. This is like a natural process we're in, which we don't even know the true story of our cosmology or whatever's going on, but the process that the earth is in is an awakening. And so the light is trying to flood in, and then they're trying to block that energy. And so um, we're at this point where the pressure to evolve and how it's been held back for thousands of years and many lifetimes is at this breaking point, and we've got a really clear, more and more every day, clear demonstration that we have been imprisoned. We have been kept as slaves, our energy being fed upon by the same forces that are stealing our money and taxing it as they do. And so, what happens when these advanced souls or even the general populace realizes how much they've been held back, lied to, stolen from? And it's like they finally realize that there's these outside forces that have been, of course, we know it's all within us as well. But, there's literal mechanisms in this world, a whole bunch of them designed specifically to keep us from remembering who we are and evolving out of this lower third dimensional matrix trap. So what I'm seeing is these supernova souls waking up in it's not you waking up. It's this other part of yourself that's already incarnated but hasn't been able to fully incarnate in this particular lifetime. And it's just this unfolding of this creature that's like so mystical and magical, powerful and connected. And then we have to reconcile this. And then what happens when these giants, um, we're talking like, there's a lot of stories about giants and giants, that there's monsters that were giants, like animalistic, but then there's the giants of the higher evolutionary expression of humanity. And it's like, what's going to happen? What's it going to be like as these souls? If we know that only one awakening is going to be a massive game changer, and then all of us are going together. I mean, we're so connected, even though we feel completely alone. It's such a strange situation, you know, and it means that our connection is everything, you know, coming back together to amplify our energetic field together and affirm and reconfirm the truth of a spiritual life. And this is the main energy that's going on for supernova souls. In Venus moving into Pisces is just this like deep and vulnerable desire to come back to source and to feel connected. And it's just the only thing that matters. And all of a sudden, what if like just radical changes in all areas of life, but in particular for your in your personal life, being like, this is what I need in this moment. I'm a precious, sacred supernova soul. And it's about time for my environment, for me to make the choices and make the changes for my environment to support me in my full higher vibrational expression. Because this is the lie. This is where we get into this trap with this whole new age ascension BS. It's just like, oh, we're raising our frequency. We're going to this higher, we're going to come into this higher dimensional frequency. It's like, we've already been there. We already fully embodied and experienced these dimensions. And it's just made out to be this thing. And we have to go through all these ascension symptoms and all that. And it's like, no, that's them microwaving us, you know? But anyway, everything that's happening to us is ultimately, whether it's working for us or against us, it's working for our ascension. It's why we're here. And we're standing up and we're claiming it. It's like nothing this unfolding silver being that you are, or that I'm seeing supernova souls like standing up in who they are, in the spiritual power. Whoa. Um And I'm just so honored to be a part of it here with you. So thanks for being with me. And so let's talk about the other astrology. So this weekend, intense, but it's the final hold on this retrograde energy. And we have to understand why this retrograde energy is so intense is because things really are moving, because we've got Jupiter coming to the end of retrograde shadow. Mercury will come out of retrograde shadow and come up with that conjunction with Pluto, finally catch up with Pluto. And Mars is out of retrograde shadow as well, slowly getting moving again. This is kind of the energy that I've been shown, is that we literally are in a pole shift. And it may be that pole shifts are happening all the time on some level. But what the picture of the pole shift that I'm getting has to do with our DNA, but it also has to do with our world, of course, microcosm, macrocosm. And it's literally a slowing down of one direction and then restarting. And that's literally where we are right now. And so when you're in that center of the spiral, it takes a minute back out to the light of day. And it's so powerful, which tells us it's so intense. And of course, it's like, oh, really? There's really going to be forward motion. I'm really going to be able to move again. The energies of forces. This is the year of the water rat. It's about working with the forces of nature, which is us. This is Chiron and Aries. Like, oh, hello. We've all been trying to get a power from outside of ourselves. And we're the force of nature. We exist. Existence should be ecstatic. Think about it, existence. So we are having to rewrite all of our stories and our whole complete energy. And so as we get to that point, it's like that's when we finally see that we can move and finally move and get out of these old stories and these old patterns, then of course there's going to be a hesitancy, pausing, you know, before you we can make, and it's kind of like coming to, okay, finally we can move again. And then you open the door and the door opens and there's nothing there. And you're expected to make this huge leap and learn how to fly. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. The other thing we've been feeling just yesterday is the sun in square to the nodes. And I just want to point out that we're in square, 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 and the sun square nodes is fixed square. We're also going to have the sun and moon in exact square to Uranus for this full moon coming up next weekend. So all the way through the new moon and through the whole first week of February through the 8th, we have just really intense squares, and that's the feeling, right? We're ready to go, but we're not ready to go. And it's just this tension in the back at the gate, because coming back to this forward motion thing, Pluto is moving into Aquarius in March. And so it's like, don't tell me we're not moving forward. We've been so gaslit and so stuck and playing out the same old patterns and taking on the karma of of our oppressors again and again and making it our problem. And that was the other message I got at the very beginning of these stories coming through. When supernova souls realize that all that they carry is not their karma, we cannot heal our own karma. I mean, the karma that's not our own, you know? But it's like we were blamed and targeted again and again and publicly shamed and killed, which creates a whole dynamic of feeling like your soul goes, wait a minute, I must be really bad. You know? And it's like, actually, it was all manipulation, deceit, and lies and gaslighting. And it's like, no, this isn't the actual real situation. Um, and when supernova souls purify their vibration and release this energy of shame, pain, of karma they've been carrying for the collective, but really it's tied to the control energies and taking on the pain, what's been caused, and holding it in your field. Literally, supernova souls who have a lot of physical pain, sometimes it's like you're literally holding on to the pain in your physical body, which is our world, it's our temple, it's our microcosm of the Atlantean catastrophes. And when are we going to put this shit down? When are we going to stand up and be like, wait a minute? And that's exactly what's happening, right? Because it's got to reconcile if Pluto's moving into Aquarius, because Atlantean time was an Aquarian age. So we've got now the sun in square to the nodes. We'll be feeling that for the next couple of days. And then the sun comes right into a square with Uranus and Taurus. And the moon for the full moon in Leo will be in a square with Uranus and Taurus. So a fixed T square with Uranus and Taurus. So right now, the energy of the sun square the nodes is like blocking our forward motion, blocking, and of course, it has to do with our self-worth and deservedness for a better and different life. What if this is the only thing keeping us in the trap, keeping us asleep, keeping us playing dumb, keeping us playing small? We got to stand up and take what is ours. And it has to do with the energy available in our very own that now is actually being disclosed in mainstream media. You know, how they're going to harvest our energy to run 6G technology. It's right there in our face. And so our electromagnetic field is so powerful. And yet we've been so messed with these frequencies. And it's like this outer cage interfering with that. Now, what I'm seeing is that with that spiritual connection, and it's keeping us in a place of feeling like, I mean, this is the deal. When everything starts to break down and it's not working out in the way this astrology has been of like block, 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 and retrograde and everything, it's just like, what is the point? I'm not getting anywhere in everything I've worked for. Just there's nothing to show for it. And this is the feeling of frustration on all levels in humanity right now. And then supernova souls is like this is giving us the opportunity to climb up above and reaffirm and this spiritual connection of who we really are. It's pushing us into now. The other thing that's happening at the same time is that energetically there's like holes opening up. And every time we reach through and reaffirm that connection, we're making a pathway. It's the way back to source. We're showing the way. And and so it's like on the one hand, we're having this incredible pressure, but there's also like gapes and holes in the lower matrix. And so we're having the light of spiritual truth can shine down into our life again. But that's not enough. We got to reach up and grab it. And it's almost like one of those times when supernova souls are called to be in like a constant vigil, or every thought, emotion, like just recognizing how this everything is trying to bring us into emotional turmoil. It's when they can feed on us. And then it's like we got to bring our own energy back to that way, that life, that truth, that love. And that's what's real. And that's why we live. And that's what's behind everything we do. And we're just going to be present in that place in the center. And that's what's called for us right now. Imagine coming together and having this vigil and the power in our energetic fields. That 6 feet apart stuff showed us how powerful it is for us to be close in our energetic field. I mean, this whole agenda, that CV and the cure for the CV, which is actually genocide, is all about trying to stop spiritual ascension and light body activation because it's contagious. And so now what's happening is that you're having this opportunity to be so present and so forced into this corner, which is actually the only way out, which is in. And then the vibration you can build in your own field. And it's kind of like this recognizing, like, oh my gosh, who are these people? Are they real? Are they actors? Like, what kind of weird simulation did I find myself in? But then understanding the energetic field and how we can make this reconnection to source and growing this energy so that it's so powerful. And those other people that are doing this work, supernova souls, are going to find each other. It's like magnetic. So the pole shift for supernova souls is a lot about like where we've been repelling each other because we've agreed to be apart. We're scared of our own power. So two of us together is way more powerful, right? Or a whole group. It's going to be so fun. We finally get it figured out. Um, and so there's so much that's been keeping us from coming together. And again, it just affirms the power of electromagnetic field. And so be in your own temple and work from here, build from here. Stop trying to make this world work for you and let that energy vibration just grow and claim it for yourself, right? Because the thing is, this is like, yeah, well, then I'm all alone. It's like, but we've got to claim this vibration. If there's energies that aren't resonant outside of us, then we're never going to be able to do it. And we've got to do this. Then that field is so powerful and it magnetically goes from where we were repelling each other and calling in our soul tribe, you know, souls that have the same values as you and have worked on these projects again and again over lifetimes. We planted these amazing seeds, and it's time to sprout them. Um, so this is the energy of this whole next season. Now, the interesting thing that's happening in between these squares, well, we'll be feeling both. Sun square the nodes of the moon, and that south node in Scorpio, it's a revealing of the darkness of everything that's kept us and hidden in shame. And so that we can receive our wealth and abundance. Everything about these fixed squares with Uranus and Taurus is about the blocking of our energetic wealth and abundance, which is everything we've been talking about. And so, but it feels like so stuck. Everything that's been divergent with your soul essence, which is pretty much our whole life, is just exposing itself and showing us exactly what's going on. And But in between these squares of the sun square the nodes and then the sun square Uranus is the sun comes into a sextile with Chiron. And this is our little magic portal where we can go, oh, wait a minute, this is all lower play. And that's the sun in Aquarius, and Mercury will be moving into Aquarius um, on the 12th. And so when the sun will still be in Aquarius, Mercury will be in Aquarius, and it's kind of like Mercury getting out of that Capricorn heavy, locked, facing the man, sorting it out, being held back energy. And then the Aquarius energy is kind of like the higher mind, right? And so we have an opportunity to get a greater perspective. And it's really important for us right now. We've got to reach up and find that connection to that angel that we are. And 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 the feeling of that there's a whole group of powerful beings that are so evolved and we're all waking up together. So being in this energy is really powerful. And that sun sextile Chiron, sun in Aquarius, the reason why it feels so blocked is the sun in Aquarius is like our role in the Aquarian age, right? Like who are we as we move forward? And then it's like you're nobody, remember? You're insignificant. You're just one little speck out there with all these other universes, you know, completely out of control of your reality and da 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 da. And it's like, supernova souls, I've seen again and again. We were there at the beginning of the conception of now they're trying to, we've basically conceded our world over to the control energies. And that's just not gonna fly. It's not sustainable ongoing. This shit's about to hit the fan, and I know we can all feel it. It's like there's no getting out of this one. We can't skate over it. We can't like just push it under the rug or pretend and just go on the way it's just like no. And yet, in this intensity, in this explosion, in this like, blah, that is our ticket out. And it's so interesting. The sun sextile Chiron, right after the Mercury square Chiron, and all these fixed squares. But it's kind of like your role in the Aquarian age, sextile to Chiron, is like all you have to do is get a hold of your energetic field again, understand the power that we have there, and grow it and love it and heal it. So much more powerful than all those other frequencies out there. We, in our one energetic field, could create frequencies that can undo all of the negative or interfering frequencies in our whole town. One of us. So watch out, world, because we're waking up and we're not going to take it. And so that sun sextile Chiron is just this like creative magical solutions right in the middle of the biggest squeeze. And what is this squeeze? We're moving into the full moon in Leo, which is about an expression of the light that we are, which is what we didn't even know we had this light. Just like we didn't even know, most of us, how controlled we've been and how close we are to a completely technocratic, controllable human race. And the other thing that's happening for this full moon is that Venus is exactly square to Mars. And so it's like, ooh, and this is a mutable square. So we've got fixed square, T square, the sun and the moon in Leo, square Uranus, the sun in Aquarius, square Uranus, um, coming up against that blocking to our energetic wealth and abundance. What is blocking our role in the Aquarian age? And then we've got Venus in Pisces. Now, we talked about Venus and Pisces being like, oh, just this desire for a spiritual life. Like, this is a joke. And I'm not going to spend one more minute. Like, do you guys want to go meditate or pray or like sing maybe? Or, um, and so Venus in Pisces is in a feminine sign. Pisces is a feminine sign, water, speaking to the water rabbit. We're getting into this energy of the water rabbit. And maybe that's Venus's journey, learning how to work with these energies again, working with the energies of the universe. So much power. It's just that like art of war and letting the elemental forces do the work for you. So Venus is in Pisces, desiring a spiritual life. Mars is in Gemini, having just come out of retrograde, feeling hogtied, suppressed in his expression and his movement, just like, and It's like a right now, it's like a masculine and a feminine, and Gemini is a masculine sign. So they're both in, feminine, masculine signs. And then in this square, the mutable square is about an adjustment. And there's a little feeling of this of kind of like, all right, as we're waking up to who we are, you know, these are I've been doing the kitty litter and the garbage and what you're doing the whatever shoveling and the it's like and so we're figuring out this is really, really important because the societal programming, we have to understand how dangerous the transgender agenda is because it's trying to whittle away these beautiful archetypes of the feminine and the masculine, which is our ticket back to source. So when we whittle away at these archetypes, then we are zeros and ones. And so these archetypes are so important. And it's not about one being better than the other, or, it's like what we're facing right now with the square is basically where we've transgressed against the opposite sex and we've all incarnated in male and female bodies. You can't be an advanced soul and not have had. We've tried everything, you know? And so it's not about the math. We've got to get out of the division, but it's also like this kind of coming to moment, like where Mars is like, whoa, girl, I haven't been standing up for you and the magic of the spiritual and holding sacred space for that. I got distracted in war and battle, and I thought I was protecting you, but I was abandoning you because I never stood up for what you stand for. And then she's like, well, yeah. But then it's like, yeah, but I've been playing small and victimized, and I didn't even know that I was spiritual or it's like, and so we have to come to this sacred marriage within the masculine and feminine and heal these archetypes and celebrate within the masculine and feminine and heal these archetypes and celebrate these archetypes. And it's healing the wounds between the masculine and feminine over lifetimes. We've all played out both sides so that we can come back into our heart. And so there's a lot of like the times we're in right now are demanding presence and uh there's a humbleness and a forgiveness, an energy of forgiveness is coming of like, as we wake up and we realize, the role we play, maybe the biggest forgiveness we're looking for is to ourselves for how far we've transgressed against spirit and the truth of who we really are. So that's all coming to head for this Leo new moon, full moon, and that's about expression of our light, right? So it's like, what's in the way? And square with Uranus, you don't feel worthy of your own energetic potential and power. How much clearer can it get? And it's like we're coming up against the wall, the same wall again and again, and it's like Roadrunner, just like it's the wall. And um, this is getting old, and we're way too precious as we realize in our spiritual energetic field, our higher vibrational energy we've worked on for lifetimes. It's not what we do here. It's not right now. We're going to, it is, we want to change our frequency to be able to support who we are as a soul in our higher frequency. But this is work over lifetimes. Don't buy into this ascension bullshit. It's like you have something you need to do besides honoring and supporting and loving and so that you can raise your frequency. But we are just so inside out with this energy, and this is the reconciliation time, where our life we recognize has not been it's not an expression of who we are, and it can't go on that way. This has been the whole Saturn square Uranus energy of the last couple of years was about why aren't we seeing the changes in our physical reality represent the energetic changes we've been going through. Can we take that connection to spirit and live it, not as something we go visit in our meditation, but that would an offering for the world because God damn it, we need it right now. So Mercury comes out of shadow. So we got the full moon this week on the 5th. Mercury comes out of shadow on the 7th. Jupiter out of shadow on the 11th. Now, Mercury, remember in retrograde, it made almost to Pluto. Pluto was at 26 degrees at that time, and Mercury was at 24. And so it's like, ooh, They came that close, and then Pluto moved to 26, 7 degrees. Now Pluto's at 28 degrees, and Mercury coming out of retrograde shadow will finally catch back up. So it's like, all right, what is this about? How do we break free from where we've let all of this bullshit, lower vibrational energy hold us back? And that is on the 10th. So very powerful week. And it's interesting because we've got all the way up to the Leo full moon, square, 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 square. Both of those intense the T square with the sun and the moon and Uranus, and the square with Venus and Mars come off on the 8th. And so, but then, and Mercury got a shadow on the 7th. So that second week of February should be really interesting energy because we've got Mercury catching back up to Pluto, and both Jupiter and Mercury coming out of retrograde shadow. And so we'll kind of watch that. And because that's an intense conjunction of Mercury and Pluto, it's like boom, breaking the control energies, but not a lot of square energy at that time. And so we'll kind of explore this energy as we move forward. But know that this is incredibly powerful time. We're being pushed in the corner so that we build the world from the inside and take back our world and our vibration. And definitely a lot of energies of getting so frustrated, supernova souls, enough that you can let go of where you've been holding energies for other people. That we're the way showers, we're the lamp, the light, and that we cannot let you wait around anymore. And so, incredibly powerful times, and the astrology is speaking along, right along with it, and everything is like, what is keeping you from shining your light, your truth, your gifts, sharing it with the world? And so we're in an acute situation here and incredible pressure to move forward, or ready to move forward. And yet that precipice feeling of like, wait a minute. Am I really ready? Where am I even going? Who am I? What am I doing? Um, and with all these squares with the sun, it's an identity crisis, which is good because we're dropping all of that false shit and just claiming moment to moment the truth of who we are. So reach up and uh, grab a hold of this opportunity to be in these little holes. And it could be that your frustration is making a hole, that righteous anger, that power within you rising up so that you can live and breathe this connection to spirit, to source, the truth of who we are by definition. But we're here to be those way source and to live in that. And you know what? It feels better. It feels good. And it's offering hope and love to whoever you come across. And isn't it about time that you can offer that free to yourself? And this is what this is about. Wait a minute. We're living complete lie, fabricated lives, somebody else's lower bullshit agenda. And we're hugely powerful, amazing souls with such incredible spiritual wealth. So everything this year in this Taurus is coming into focus. It's all about our havingness, our deservedness for our incredible energetic wealth. And wow, we're in the ringer right now. So use that energy to claim the power within you and your energy field and your temple and your body, and let creation live there. Um, and that's you being the gift that you are and feeling really good and satisfied and in love. But that means you've got to let people have their experiences now. For years and lifetimes, you've been kicked to the curb and cast aside, rejected, abused, exiled, murdered, burned at the stake. So it's really okay for everybody to have their experiences and have their pain. And it's really okay for you to know that your true path here is to create a different vibration, a different way, a different option, and demonstrate that. in your energetic field. Thank you so much, Supernova Souls. The work you've done has been so profound. And if you open up to this and take this time right now, you might have incredible spiritual experiences of feeling connected to forces that have been trying to connect with us and talk to us, but we've been so blocked in this field and firmament. And it's very, very beautiful. And then that can set your course in your life of like, oh, whew, this is what matters. This is what's true. This is what's real. This is why I'm here. And it's all about love, coming back to love. And so fucking I'm gonna just do it. Yeah. And so use the power of this squeezing to break through and break out. And it's like a chink in the cage that's gonna let light in and awaken these incredible supernova superstar angels. So I hope can join me for that Leo full moon activation. That is going to be Sunday, February 5th at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. And I hope you'll consider joining the for the Friday update. Um, the Supernova Soul Tribe membership, it's $10 a month. That's Friday update and monthly Q&A. And there's also a lot of great resources for Supernova Souls, as well as a forum and a social and coming the chat wall as well. And so that's really beautiful. And then for $20 a month, you can be in the gold, Supernova Gold. If you don't want to miss an activation, $20 gets you into both of the activations, new and full moon each month, and live sharing circles afterwards. So consider joining. The information to sign up for that is below. I hope to see you at that activation. And the Supernova Soul Tribe or the next update. Know we're all connected regardless. We're working on other levels and we're all here together. But thank you so much for your support so that we can build something amazing together in this Supernova Enterprises. So hang in there, Supernova Souls. This is your time of power. And it's time to take what's yours and start feeling better. So hang in there. I love you so much. Remember, we're all connected, and I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update or that full moon and Leo activation next weekend. Until then, I'm Adrienne Leese. Namaste.